As I've gotten older and I continue to get older, my habits and my routines mean a lot to me, and they really have shaped me into the person that I am. And honestly, as I just go through everyday life, I realize how important our habits are, because your habits, the things that you're doing every single day, really determines where you're going to be in life and the person that you're going to be. I'm currently in my early 20s, and my theme for this year, this chapter of my life, has been intentionality. So really being intentional with everything in my life, from the people that I'm associating myself with, the events that I'm going to, what I'm eating, what I'm drinking, all of that. So I'm going to share some habits that have really helped me transform my entire life. And if you're new here, my name is Romani. I make videos about my life journey and my 20-something-year-old lifestyle. So if any of that interests you, make sure you subscribe to my channel and make sure you like this video. A habit that has truly transformed my entire life has been journaling. Journaling has really changed the game for me. Sometimes I just free write, like I write whatever is on my mind or anything that I'm experiencing that day. And sometimes I'll do journal prompts, but I only do journal prompts when it's maybe like a full moon or a new moon or something. But like on a daily basis, I really just write what comes to me. Really putting what is in my mind onto paper helps me analyze and reflect and reevaluate situations much better than I would be if I was just thinking about it in my head. Because I noticed that when I'm not journaling, I feel very overwhelmed. I need an outlet to get my feelings out, or my thoughts are just going to be jumbled inside of my head and I'm gonna go crazy. So journaling has really just been helpful, because I can get everything that's in my head onto paper and I can see, okay, I went wrong when I did that, or I need to change this, or I need to talk to this person and try to see where we can see eye to eye. Like, you can really just read everything without your personal feelings being in it, and you can evaluate everything and how you feel. And you can also express gratitude that way. It feels so good when I'm in a great space in my life and I can just journal about how happy I am, or I can go back and read my journal entries and just see how far my life has come. Journaling also helps me not overshare as much, because I've already got whatever I needed to say out and I didn't have to tell another person. When I don't journal, I overshare so much, and it's something that I've really been working on. I volunteer so much information, and then afterwards I'm like, oh my God, I just overshared. So I really have to be diligent with my journaling so that I can keep my energy contained, because when you're oversharing to God knows who, you're leaking your energy. So journaling has just been a very transformative habit in my life. The next habit that has been amazing is setting boundaries. I was raised to be a people pleaser, and of course it was unknowingly. Like, nobody tells their kid like, hey, you need to be a people pleaser. But as you go through society and the school system and all of that, you notice that you get rewarded for good behavior, whether you feel like doing that good behavior or not, or you get taught to do things that are socially acceptable. Let's say you're at a family function and you may be a young kid. Your parent might be like, go hug this person. And of course, if you say no, they're gonna make you hug the person anyway, or they're gonna get upset. It's gonna be a whole thing. But maybe you didn't want to hug that person and you still did it, and you see, okay, when I listen and I just do what everybody says, everybody feels safe, and so maybe I should do what everybody says. You end up becoming a people pleaser. And I know a lot of people in their 20s, like my generation, we really struggle with boundaries, because boundaries were never shown to us. And I feel like our generation is the first generation that is really like, you're not going to talk to me like this. We're not going to do things like this. I'm going to express how I feel when I feel that way. We're the first generation that has had the privilege to do that. So setting boundaries can be sticky, because not everybody has boundaries. I've noticed even people in my life, like people who are my age, maybe like previous friends who were in previous chapters of my life, may not like that, I have boundaries, or they may not have boundaries in their life, so they couldn't really respect my boundaries. Like, boundaries can be sticky, because if somebody doesn't have boundaries, they don't expect you to have boundaries. So they feel disrespected when you do say no or you're not tolerating something. But boundaries have definitely helped me, because I used to be a person who would just do whatever. And not saying that in a bad way, but like, let's say I don't want to hang out with somebody. I will be like, oh, well, I'll just do it just because. No, I'm not doing that anymore. If I don't want to do something, I'm not doing it. If I don't want to talk to somebody, I'm not doing it. Like, I am not forcing myself to do anything that I don't want to do. And it has been the best feeling ever, because when you constantly are forcing yourself to do certain things that you don't want to do, you feel overwhelmed and it feels like a burden, and you're not happy to be living your life. It feels overwhelming. It feels annoying. In the back of your head, you're like, oh, I got to do this. I got to do that. You're not happy to do it. And honestly, I've just realized that I'm not a person that cannot be happy or cannot not be happy. I need to be happy with whatever decision I make. So even if I have people in my ear like, oh, you should just do it, just do this. No, I have boundaries, and I'm going to make sure that I'm taken care of. Because if I don't make sure I'm good, nobody is going to make sure I'm good. I can't make sure everybody else is good and not check on myself. And I can have respectful boundaries. Hey, no, I don't want to go out today. Hey, no, I don't want to do this. You can be very respectful, but boundaries are key. And that actually goes into my next habit, which is not forcing and just staying in alignment, going with the flow of what feels right in your life. Everything is not going to be easy, but everything does not have to be super hard and super forced either. You know the difference between when something is a challenge and when you are forcing something. And we try to act like we don't know, like, oh, I don't know what to do. You know exactly what to do. If you sit down and you ask yourself a question, an answer pops up in your head. Like, you have the answer. So you know if something is forced and if it's not forced. And personally, I just cannot force things anymore. I can't force friendships. I can't force career paths. Like, I cannot force anything in my life. And that's not to say that everything in my life is going to feel good, because some things are going to challenge you. Some days are going to challenge you. Some people are going to challenge you. But like I said, I know the difference between when something is a challenge and when I am literally forcing something and it is not for me. I choose to stay in alignment with everything that I do in life now. The next habit that completely transformed my life has been drinking a gallon of water a day. And I always talk about this in videos. Y'all have heard me say this a million times. Water is key to everything. My skin started healing. My body started healing. I started getting more energy. I can sleep better at night. I feel hydrated. I look hydrated. Like, I didn't want to say nothing, but my skin is glowing. I drink 4 of these a day. Water is going to be your saving grace. Some people may feel like a gallon of water is too much, but honestly, I wake up at 7 a.m. I teach multiple hot yoga classes a day. I'm a personal trainer, and this is where I plug my business. Y'all know I always got to sprinkle a little business plug in there somewhere. I'm the owner of Glow with Throw Fitness. I offer online fitness programs, waist trainers, in-person training, virtual training, all of that. I'm going to leave everything in the description box below, and you can use the code YouTube at checkout for some money off. But honestly, I need the water. It's not too much for me. Maybe a gallon seems like too much for you. I'm just going to say, just start increasing your water intake. But for me, drinking a gallon of water a day completely changed my life. It helped me lose weight. It just helped me in so many ways. The next habit is not eating meat. I stopped eating beef and pork in 2017, and it is now 2023. And I stopped eating chicken and turkey in 2021. Probably about 7 years for the beef and pork, and then 2 years for the chicken and the turkey. Now, hear me out. I was vegan, but I love salmon. And if any of my friends are watching this, they're like, Romani loves salmon. I love salmon. I can't let it go. I'm not going to say I can't. I have, like, I go through these periods where I'm vegan, but then like I literally start craving salmon. I love salmon so much, but if it wasn't salmon, I would be vegan. Nonetheless, not eating meat has been very helpful because I don't know, I wasn't feeling the best when I was eating red meat. Like, it was so long ago, so I can't really think about how I felt, but I know in 2021 I specifically stopped eating chicken because my digestive system seemed like it was never doing what it was supposed to do. Like, I would wake up and I would literally feel like something was sitting at the top of my stomach, and it seemed like my body was not digesting the chicken properly. And I was eating a lot of chicken back then because I was in Nashville at the time. I was living in Nashville, and I was down the street from Chick-fil-A, so I was always eating chicken, and probably eating the fast food wasn't the best either. But even when I would cook chicken, it just never sat right in my stomach. So not eating the meat has been amazing for my digestive system. I don't wake up feeling like something is sitting at the top of my stomach. Like, I feel good. My next habit is also something that has helped my digestive system, and is drinking tea in the morning. I always boil a pot of oregano, and I make oregano tea. My mom and my grandma and my entire family swears by oregano tea, and it cures. It helps. If I feel like I'm about to get sick, I drink it. If I feel like my digestive system may be doing some crazy stuff, I drink it. Like, it is so helpful. So I boil a pot of tea, and then I put a cap full of apple cider vinegar in it, and then I get a teaspoon of honey, and I stir it all up, and I drink it. And sometimes I drink it at night too if I want to go to sleep, because drinking tea at night just like really makes me sleepy. But drinking it in the morning on an empty stomach when I'm journaling, that is an amazing habit in itself, because I am starting my day just with so much positivity and gratitude. It's so interesting how a little cup of tea can change the whole trajectory of your day. But just sitting there and drinking tea and journaling about how I'm feeling, or how I felt the day before, or how grateful I am, it is just such an amazing experience. Another habit is listening to podcasts and motivational YouTube videos every single day. It is always so interesting to me when someone goes on a challenge and they're like, okay, I want to listen to at least one podcast a day. Because when I say I am literally playing podcasts all day, every day, sometimes I'll listen to music, but other times I'm listening to my podcast. If it is the morning time, right when I wake up, because like while I'm making my tea, I literally sleep next to my AirPods, so I can put my AirPods in and I immediately turn on something positive in the morning. And I know that some people may not agree with that. They may like to sit with their own thoughts right when they wake up. But right when I wake up, I put in my AirPods and I'm listening to one of my favorite YouTubers or one of my favorite podcasts while I make my tea. And then I start journaling. The videos and the podcast have been so helpful, because it's like you're programming your subconscious mind to think positively. You're constantly getting advice on how to do better and how to improve. And sometimes I even tune out and I'm not listening to it for real, but just getting it in my brain, I start to think a little bit more positively. Like, I can definitely tell the difference of when I've been listening to my podcast and my videos and when I haven't. That constant reassurance of like positive energy is just so amazing. Listening to the videos and the podcast have just been amazing. The next habit that I've absolutely loved is reading. I am so big on reading. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I have a whole highlight on my page with books that I've read. I enjoy reading so much. For one, I love reading because as a Black woman, I understand that my ancestors were not always privileged and fortunate enough to be able to pick up a book and read. They were not allowed to do that. So honestly, I read just because my ancestors couldn't. Like, I read for them. But I also read because I gained so much knowledge about business, about spiritual well-being, about health and wellness. Like, I just gained so much knowledge. And sometimes I even read fictional books, and you can still gain knowledge from the stories that you're reading, like from the character's life. I love reading business books. I love reading like Black books about Black history. I love reading self-help books. Self-help books and podcasts kind of go like hand in hand, but reading it in a book form just feels different. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I do get tired of reading self-help books, and that's when I start to read my fiction books, and I just kind of go back and forth, but I absolutely love reading. I remember last year I was reading this book called The Water Dancer by Ta-Nehisi Coates, and I hope that I said his name correctly. That book was so good, and it was like I was watching a movie. I don't know. It was so good. And I just remember getting through it in 3 weeks. And that might seem like a long time and that might seem like a short time depending on how fast or slow you read. But I just remember getting through it in 3 weeks because I was constantly reading. Like when I wasn't doing anything, I was constantly reading that book and it was so amazing. My final habit is doing yoga. If you are subscribed to my channel, then you know I'm a yoga instructor in Los Angeles and I absolutely love yoga. So I just became a yoga instructor about 3 months ago, but I've been doing yoga for 7 years now, and this is something that has like completely changed my life because yoga is so meditative for me. I don't even have to be like sitting down with my eyes closed to meditate. While I'm practicing, I'm like doing it. But like while I'm practicing my asana, that's another word for yoga, but while I'm practicing, it feels like meditation. And I don't do this anymore because I teach so many classes every day. But before I was teaching and when I just did yoga on my own, I would wake up every single morning and I would go on YouTube and I would do a lady, her name is Leslie Fightmaster. She has a YouTube channel called Fightmaster Yoga. She's actually deceased, unfortunately, but she has so many videos on her channel and still watch them to this day if I have some time to practice yoga at home. But I would wake up every single morning and I would do one of her videos. And when I say it was just the most peaceful thing that I have ever experienced, I loved it. And it got to a point where I couldn't even get up and go throughout my day if I didn't at least get 5 minutes of yoga in. Like my body would feel stiff or I would just feel all discombobulated in the mind. Like yoga really calms me down. And a lot of people are so nervous to start yoga. Personally, I teach hot yoga right now, but a lot of people are so scared to take hot yoga or they're scared to even just practice yoga at all. My suggestion would be don't start at a class. Just start where you are, maybe in your living room or outside. Start with what you have. And you could just start by just moving your body. If you don't know anything to do or you don't have the capabilities to watch videos, just start with what you have. Just start moving and see how you feel. And hold some poses for a little bit, hold some different stretches. But yoga's gonna change your life. And also, if you're interested in becoming a yoga instructor, I made an entire video about how I became a yoga instructor and how I got my scholarship and all of that. I will link that down below. So those were the habits that have helped me really transform as a young woman, as a being. It just has transformed my life and I'm so grateful for those habits. I'm so happy that I was able to share them with you, and I hope that you can take them and you can use them and you can pass them along to the next person. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure you subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up. Everything that you need is going to be in the description box, so you can shop my personal training. You can get some workout plans, some meal plans, some waist trainers, all of that. Follow me on Instagram. It's all going to be down below, and I will see you in my next video.